They once said, "The sun never sets on the British Empire." But today, as the grey skies hang low over the River Thames, even that sun seems to have gone dim. London, once the beating heart of global finance, where kings, traders, and empires bowed before its golden markets, now stands as a ghost of its own power. Beneath the glittering skyline of Canary Wharf and the city, a darker truth unfolds. The empire of money has devoured its own capital. The city that ruled the world through trade and finance is now ruled by them. Not by monarchs or ministers, but by the silent, unrelenting forces of speculation, debt, and decline. So how did London, once the center of wealth and civilization, fall prey to the very system it created? To understand London's fall, we must travel back, not just through history, but through the DNA of money itself. The story begins centuries ago when the city of London was not merely a place, but a power, a fortress of bankers and traders, separate from the British government, with its own laws and ancient privileges. It was here that global capitalism was born. Insurance, stock exchanges, modern banking, all forged in the smoky halls of London's financial quarter. From the gold-backed pound to the power of the British East India Company, London became the heart of a vast web that connected colonies, trade routes, and fortunes across the world. But every empire built on wealth faces the same paradox. The moment money becomes the master, not the servant, decay begins. And in the 21st century, that decay has reached the streets of London itself, the birth of the financial empire. In the 18th and 19th centuries, London wasn't just Britain's capital, it was the capital of the world. From the Bank of England's founding in 1694 to the Industrial Revolution, every road of commerce led to London. Ships carrying tea, opium, gold, and silver filled the Thames. The British pound became the world's reserve currency. Empires rose and fell, but London's bankers stayed in control. Yet behind the splendor of Victorian architecture and imperial pride, something dangerous was taking shape. The City of London, a square mile governed not by the crown, but by corporations and bankers. Even today, it remains legally separate from the rest of the UK, a medieval relic turned modern financial powerhouse. It is the only place where the Queen herself had to ask permission to enter. And from that strange independence grew something unstoppable, the financialization of everything. The empire transformed, from industry to speculation. After World War II, Britain's industrial might began to fade. Factories closed, coal mines went silent, and the empire's colonies gained independence. But the financiers of London had a new plan. If Britain could no longer rule the world through empire, it would rule it through money. In the 1980s, Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher unleashed a revolution: deregulation, privatization, and the rise of the city boys. London became the world's playground for money, where billions moved across screens faster than ships ever could. The city didn't produce goods anymore, it produced numbers that created fortunes overnight and erased them by morning. And as real wealth faded, virtual wealth exploded. Housing prices soared, debt became normal. The gap between rich and poor grew into a canyon. London's skyline filled with glass towers owned not by Britons but by billionaires, oligarchs, and offshore funds. The city had transformed from the empire's heart into a global money laundromat. The hidden empire of the City of London. Few realize this. The City of London isn't just a financial district. It's an empire within an empire. It controls a vast network of offshore territories, the British spiderweb of tax havens like the Cayman Islands, Bermuda, and Jersey. Together they hold trillions of dollars in hidden wealth, much of it untaxed and untraceable. These places are not independent states. They are satellites of London, silent extensions of the same old empire redesigned for the modern age. This is how Britain's power survived the fall of its colonies, not through armies but through finance. And at the center of that web sits the city, invisible, untouchable, unaccountable. Even the British Parliament cannot control it. The Lord Mayor of London, a position older than the Prime Minister and represents the banks, not the people. Every year this figure leads a parade where global elites celebrate the freedom of the city, a freedom that ordinary citizens will never know. It's no wonder that some historians now call it the last surviving empire. 4. The modern collapse. When wealth consumes itself. But empires built on illusion eventually face reality. After the 2008 financial crisis, London's reputation cracked, banks collapsed. The government bailed them out using taxpayers' money, while ordinary Britons faced austerity and poverty. The dream of endless growth died, replaced by survival. Brexit was the next blow, cutting London off from its biggest market, the European Union. Companies fled, the pound weakened, investment dried up. Yet while the city's poor lineup at food banks, luxury apartments stand empty, owned by foreign investors who never set foot in them. It's the ultimate irony. London's wealth has made it unaffordable for its own people. Teachers, nurses, and even police officers can no longer live in the city they serve. The empire of money has consumed its capital, piece by piece, for the illusion of power. Still, the illusion continues. The London Stock Exchange remains a symbol of prestige. The pound still circulates with the Queen's, now the King's face, and politicians still promise economic growth. But beneath the surface, the foundations are cracking. Young people flee to cheaper cities. Homelessness rises under the neon lights of billion-dollar offices. The streets echo with inequality, the same kind that once tore empires apart. For centuries, London exported capitalism to the world. Now, the world's capitalism has returned to devour London. Perhaps this was inevitable. Every empire in its final stage becomes a victim of its own success. Rome drowned in its luxuries. Spain collapsed under its silver. And Britain, the empire that ruled the seas, is now sinking beneath a sea of debt and speculation. London's fall is not just a story about one city. It's a warning to all nations built on financial illusion. Because when money becomes detached from reality, when it stops serving humanity and begins ruling it, collapse is not a question of if, but when. Yet there is still a faint hope. London has reinvented itself before, from plague to fire, from empire to modernity. Its people have always risen from the ashes, but this time the battle is not against invaders or flames. It's against an idea. The idea that money alone defines power. If London is to rise again, it must remember what once made it great. Not the gold in its vaults, but the vision, creativity, and courage of its people. Until then, the empire of money will continue to feast, until nothing is left to consume but itself.